So in this slide, I am going to discuss how to create an array of objects of the same class. In the previous video, I believe you got the concept of different objects of the same class. And as I have told, although all the different objects of the same class can use the same variable name that you have defined in the class, or the same function that you have kept inside that class, but they are all different. Means they occupies totally different places in the memory, because the objects, the entire object is different. So anyway, and now in this video I am going to show you how to create an array of all those different objects of the same class. So for the sake of simplicity, I am using the same class called another class that I have used before, the same variable called var, and the same function named demo function 1 over here with the same content. Now, let us see how to create an array of objects. Now, creating an array of objects is basically a three-step process. In the step 1, in here, first you have to declare the array of object. So here, in order to declare the array of object, you have to use this syntax. First the class name, which is another class, followed by this opening and closing box bracket, which is saying the Java compiler that we are interested to create an array of this array of the object of this another class, followed by the name of the array. Here I have used array of object as the name, but you are free to use the name of your choice. After that, this assignment operator, or this equals symbol, followed by this new keyword. This is again to tell the Java compiler that, well, now we are interested to create an entirely new array of another class. That is the class name once again. And after this class name, you have to specify the size or the length of the array, which is 4 in our case, inside this opening and closing box bracket. So here basically the entire line means that, well, I am creating a new array of objects of another class which can hold 4 different objects of another class. So that's our step 1. Next, step 2 in here. In the step 2, you have to create all the individual objects. Say AC0, AC1, AC2, AC3, something like that. So in order to create the object, you have to follow the similar syntax that we have discussed before. Like in order to create an object, you have to write the class name followed by the object name. Here I have used AC0, but you can use any name of your choice, followed by an equals symbol. Then this new keyword to tell the Java compiler that I'm interested to create a new object, followed by the class name once again, which is another class over here, and then opening and closing parenthesis. So that's how we can create the object, and we discussed earlier. And after creating this object, I have just changed the value of the var variable of this object, just for the for the sake of understanding. So here I have done like AC0, which is the object name over here. Then I have used a dot operator followed by the name of the variable var. Then I have assigned a value 15 to the var variable of AC0. The same way, actually, I have created an object and changed the var variable's value of other objects also, like this AC1, then AC2, AC3. Everything is similar as the first one. So after you created all these different objects, now it is the time for step 3, which is basically nothing but put each of those individual objects, in our case it is AC0 and to AC3, in this array of object. So how to do that? This is very simple. So the array of object, the name of the array that you have given, we have given array of object over here, and the name of that array followed by the index inside this opening and closing box bracket, and the index number inside, and the object that you want to assign inside that index. Now for the sake of easy understanding, what I have done, I have assigned the object AC0 in the index 0, AC1 inside index 1, AC2 inside index 2, and AC3 inside index 3. Now after you have put each individual objects in the array, now you can test it by using this code. So here basically, what I have done, I just used a for loop which is iterating over the index of the array, where the size of the array is 4, and it is iterating from 0 to 4, and every time it is basically printing the value of the variable over here using this dot operator. Now remember, for each of the object we basically changed the value of the variable over here, that is 15, 25, 35, 45, like this. So and so what will happen is, in the first iteration it will print the value of AC, let's say this array of object 0 dot var, which means this is the AC0 dot var. The next iteration it will print the index 1, the object at index 1, which is AC1 dot var. So next iteration it will print the object at the index 2, which is basically AC2 dot var, and and AC0 dot var means it is 15, then it is 25, then it is 35, and in the final iteration it will basically print the object that is stored in the index 3 over here, which is basically AC3 dot var, and it will print 45, and that you can expect as the output, and you can just copy paste this program to get the hands-on experience. Now here basically I must say you have to remember once again that you have to use this new operator, this new keyword, for two different reasons. This is a small tip that you must remember. So what are the two different reasons? The first thing is to create the array of the object, that is over here. You have used the new operator over here to create the array of the object. And second, to create each individual objects that will be stored in the array. That is, for each individual array, when you are creating each individual objects over here, every time you use new keyword. So once you are using to create the array, and the second time to create the objects. So this is very important to remember, and most of the time I have seen that many beginners forget the step 2. After creating this new array here, they start thinking that, well, this will automatically create the new object also. But well, that's not true. You have to first create a new array, and then for each index of that array you have to create a new object. And if you do not do that, you will end up in an error, and most of the time it ends up in an error called null pointer exception.